This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just like recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. You know, we get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company, and yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, art storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, you know, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction-filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so really everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And, you know, it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select the media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker. Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. You know, another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is we
Here
have this
we
we
are
have
on
this feature.
artist and art.
Excuse me, mute that. Called Live Preview with AR. Okay, and what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right hand side, and without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says Live Preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so, again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, you know, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up, you know, if we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them. It's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running in our business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down, okay? Things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your web page for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back-end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back, okay? Let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here, actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast, we've got Bay Photo on the West Coast, we've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada, and then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise, and I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up, you get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button that says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, you know, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably like a month before Christmas maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds. You know, hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. You know, they can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and, you know, a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize, again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, you know, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where, you know, you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page, great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize, again, like, artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars, and we're adding puzzles, and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the #1 iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best-in-class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is, email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now, okay? And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support-related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, and which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that, so I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is their marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others, every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call Playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop and a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week-in, week-out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level. And then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers, and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI at marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? Is what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week. And we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. How somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started like, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? You know, myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need a kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes, and that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay, there's no trolls, there's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists, photographers are sharing with other photographers, the people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing the same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. I mean, it really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, you know, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim thins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, you know, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like, it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs, or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need You need to be able to have the ability, if you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that. I get that, right? So you can drop your images in a folder, tell us to build the site, we'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago, and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte, or it's, up almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media, and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay, guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer, and I'd have limited bandwidth to do that, and then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming on to the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency, and we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time, and if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation. One of the interesting things too, after being in this business for years and years and years, is how cyclical it is, and year after year after year, the same things tend to be true. Fundamental to being an artist or a photographer that's trying to sell your work direct to collectors, which is sort of the business model that we advocate. One of the most fundamental things that you need to be decent at is the mechanics of running a sale and how to understand running a sale. And yes, it's what the discount looks like. Yes, it's the scarcity, how, it expires Friday at such and such time. And year after year after year, these opportunities to run a sale come up again and again and again. We have a big one coming up. Mother's Day is a big one. A lot of artists sold on Mother's Day. Father's Day is a big one. A lot of artists sold on Father's Day. And then at that point, everyone goes in vacation mode. You get ready for Q4, which is the biggest art selling time of the year. And, understanding how to run a sale and being good at running a sale, and how do you announce it, and how do you warm it up, and how do you make sure your emails dovetail with your social postings, and what does it look like if you're running ads, and what are the things that you can do while the sale is running to directly reach out to people? How do you incorporate live art shows, selling direct on the socials or via Zoom into your sales? How do you extend a sale? How do you get the most ROI out of it? And there's always a lot of artists that say, well, Mother's Day doesn't really fit in with my work, or what I do. That's not something that applies to me, but it absolutely applies to you, because guess what? There are holidays that you need to be having sales every single solitary year, and they are very effective at getting attention. Every single solitary luxury brand in the world, aside from Tiffany's and Louis Vuitton, maybe Hermes, runs sales. Every single solitary business in the world runs sales, because you need to get human beings' attention to your art, to your photography. A sale is a great way of doing that. So we have some of these coming up, which is an exciting time. So we can go over sort of the mechanics and nuts and bolts of what a good sale looks like and how important they are to run. But I would love to open it up to Q&A. At this point, there is a couple different ways we go about it. One, there is a way that you can digitally raise your hand, and there is a participants button at the bottom of the Zoom window. And what that'll allow you to do, there's a little raise hand feature in there, and it raises your hand digitally, and then I can kind of see and go up and down the list that way. If your camera's on and you want to go old school, I will see the old-fashioned, hey, I have a question, and then I'll unmute you one at a time. If you don't want to turn your camera on, all good. Totally understand that. You don't have to. You got your kids running around in the background or whatever the case may be. That's all good too. If you want to just leave comments in the chat, you can do that. A lot of times I'll answer those directly, or members of my team will jump in. And then we're also streaming this to a couple different destinations. And so if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Periscope or any of the rest of them, and you want to leave a comment, I can get going with those directly. But I would love to hear where you are in your business and how I can help you grow your business, and what questions you might have. Lynette asks, how do you protect your art? And I'm going to unmute you, Lynette, because I like this one. Do you mean, and Lynette, you'll need to hit the microphone icon in the bottom left-hand corner. Do you mean like how to protect your art in the sense that nobody downloads it and goes and reproduces it and sells it? Is that sort of the spirit of the question? And again, I'm trying to unmute you. You might not be in the mode to talk. Okay, I'll answer it anyway. One of the most difficult things to do is sell your art or photography directly to customers. It is an extremely difficult thing to do. One of the things that absolutely does not happen, Lynette, is somebody going to your website, stealing medium resolution images such that they are going to go and start a business with those images and make tons of money, right? That is worse odds than playing the lottery. That is worse odds than any game in Vegas. Not happening. No one does that. Not anyone that is giving me a reasonable explanation of how that's happened to them and it's destroyed their business. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see that happening. So I don't think you need to worry about it in the slightest. Our website has all of these various different features that prevent the downloading of images. If you're so inclined, you can watermark your images. We certainly do not recommend you watermark your images, but you have that ability to do so if you want. But it just doesn't happen, Lynette. This is too difficult of a business to even begin with, such that somebody would be getting all of your images and conquering the world with them. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Again, you can watermark the images if you're concerned about it. All right, James, you have a lot going on here. I'm going to unmute you. Yep, got you. Okay, you've got a bunch of questions in the chat. Why don't you just start at the top?
Oh, it's all basically the same question. I'm a sculptor. So much of what you guys do, it seems like, is been developed for 2D automation and marketing, in terms of the printing services, and then like creating puzzles and calendars and posters and giving them options and the virtual reality stuff. So I mean, it's all amazing stuff. And honestly, I'm thinking maybe I should take photos of some of my sculptures. I have been asked sometimes for 2D versions of some of these compositions, but is anything in the works to apply some of this 2D automation for a 3D artist? And if not, what should I do it? Is this platform good for sculptors in general?
Yeah, so the problem with Sculptors, okay, is there's no platform for you, right? There isn't one that's out there that's like custom set up to just help you guys out, right? And it's funny because I'm looking at Facebook and there's this guy Steven who just signed up. He's a metal sculptor too, and he's like, hey, what's up? So the timing was interesting there. Your biggest problem is marketing. You have 2 problems. One, revenue sources, right? Sculpture takes a long time, can't reproduce them. Have to charge high prices, so it's not like an extremely high volume sale usually. So that part is one side of it. Hear me out there. Hear me out.
You make. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, that's another thing is that I mean, I'll make a series, and you limit the amount of the series, and you can also make them in different materials. So that
that's
is
good.
another part of the question.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that. Well, let's zoom out independent of the website, because whether you're talking about our website, is it completely geared for wall art? Yes, it is, but it also functions just like an e-commerce shopping cart, like all the rest of them, right? And so it just matters on what feature you use or don't use. Your biggest issue as an artist is the same as everyone else's on this call. You have a marketing problem. You have a significant marketing problem. You need more people to know about your art, more people to know about your sculpture, and how to find you, right? You need to grow your email list. You need to be exercising sales and doing all the things that are fundamental to having one of these types of businesses. And so would you benefit extremely from that education? Yes, you would. Is the website greatly going to help you sell some of your work? Not as much as wall art, but at the same time, you guys sculptors are in sort of an interesting situation, and there's an unwritten rule, okay, about the cost an item is and about whether or not it sells in a friction-free environment, i.e. online, without having to do anything, right? And we all fall into this trap that the number one thing that we need to have is this website that works when we sleep and people are just going to come and order, and nothing could be further from the truth. The minute your prices start even knocking on the door of the $1,000 mark or even getting close, people want phone calls. They want to talk to the artist. They want to have an email exchange, right? And so a lot of, especially with sculpture, a lot of the sale is extremely consultative, and it should be, right? Because the highest ROI thing you can be doing is turning on your Zoom camera and showing pieces to a prospective buyer. There's nothing more high ROI than that. So, it's a bit of a different beast in
What's the
that sense.
ROI?
What's return on investment? Return on investment, marketing dollars, energy, effort, and everything else. So what I'm saying is, I think a lot of people, try to say, I want the site to sell while I sleep. If I'm you, I would probably take all of the buy now buttons completely off of my site, and all I would do is book a private one-on-one art show, in which if you feel like you've got a qualified buyer, spend 15 minutes, turn the camera on, show them a couple of pieces, see what they're interested in, see if they're more interested in something you've already made, see if they're more interested in a commission. It's really a big deal. April, I recorded an episode on this for the Art Business Mornings, 2 weeks ago. The most important metric. Can we make sure James gets that? I'm going to email you. I did an episode on this, which is literally how I think you should be approaching your business 100%. But there's another unspoken rule, and I want you to sort of use this as a takeaway. And it sort of came out of the SaaS, what we do, software as a service. But I'm not kidding, the minute that you hit $1,000 or $1,500 in software, people don't just buy it. You have to have a sales team. And it's sort of the same lesson applies to the art world. And so I think if I'm you, that's what I'm trying to book. I'm trying to get as many of those in as possible. I actually think it's such a fundamental aspect of the art selling process that we're working on a whole raft of new features in which you connect your calendar to an application. You tell the calendar, these are the times where I'm available to have an art consultation. And then you just let people come onto your website. You've already preset the blocks. If they want to book one, boom, they book one. You turn your Zoom camera on, you're ready to go. Now, obviously, you need to think through how you're going to merchandise that stuff on Zoom. Do you have a little laptop that you can just carry around? And I mean, there's some tradecraft there, but that's what I would say.
So that you don't think it would make sense, for example, to in addition to having the sculpture, images of the sculpture from various angles, maybe have one the front angle and and treat it like a 2D image that they could then use that virtual reality thing and all that thing.
Absolutely. The live art preview helps especially with consultative selling too, right? Yes, some people will use it if they totally get it, but we see more success with it. Artist is interested in a piece. They either call, text, email, whatever they do. They don't realize that you really actually have the feature. You explain how the feature works, walk them through it, tell them try it here, see what happens. It's used way more like that, a little bit further down the sales funnel, so to speak, than it does just people doing it and then going and buying. It happens in both ways. But yes, you could 100% use it. And to be honest with you, it's as good as it gets, because as I said, that a 3D one would require VR goggles, which no one has and no one uses, right? Maybe that technology comes 15 years down the line, but right now nobody's wearing the goggles and walking around.
And one last question: Is there any option to what the sites that I've seen? It's always one image, one item. Can you have multiple images for one item? Because that you kind of have to.
Oh, of course. You can have multiple images. You can have videos. You could. I mean,
we can't have video. That was the other.
Oh yeah, all day.
I could do a little video of spinning. And
yep. Not only that, you can have Gifs too, which are in between, right? So sometimes the videos are a little bit cumbersome. People don't want to get all the way in it, but you can have a photo. And then you could shoot the video, 360 of it going around, like you had one of those little setups in your house, whether the sculpture goes on an articulating arm or whether you have a little track that goes around it, whatever the case may be. You can make a GIF out of that. And, our system's good at optimizing the images. And so then it would be image, GIF, which has animation, so the piece would be moving around, then video, right? And that's a great way to do it too.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is, there are ways to customize this to make it fit for 100%, me, and really, the benefit for me, like anyone, is is using those back end tools to get really targeted on the people who may well be interested and need that one-on-one contact and develop
Yes.
that relationship.
Yes.
And that's really the way I'm going to sell stuff
Yeah.
at the prices I have to charge in order to cast things.
Yes. But also too, I would encourage you to contemplate other revenue sources as well, right? Like, it's not always an easy question, like how do you go about doing that? But whether it's figuring out ways to do sculptures at cheaper price points, whether it's like you get into digital ways of doing it and sub it out, like it's let me just say it this way, it's hard to make it as a business when your starting price point is very high and it goes from very high to very high, right? Because it's just a small group of buyers, right? It's like that one house in your neighborhood that takes forever to sell because it's just so quirky, and it's like the pool of buyers for that house is just really narrow, right? Like, so when you have these ability for different prices, different revenue sources as a sculptor, you're able to take more advantage of the marketing that you are doing. But again, independent of what the website does for you, the biggest bonus for you or benefit for you is just going to be teaching you how to digital market all year long, because you need more attention.
Do you think it makes any sense to go this other route of, I mean, essentially taking really beautiful photos
Yes.
of sculptures and
Yes.
trying to sell the photos in addition?
That I don't know. I think TBD, you would have to test, you would have to see, but I like the beautiful photos. I like the beautiful photos of the images in extremely high-end places. I think that particular portion of branding is going to be very important to you, right? And we have a couple of guys that are like experts at this, that just get there by hook or crook, whether they've sold it that way or whether they get sneaky and like go into the Four Seasons lobby and put their piece down on like one of the things and take some photos of it. Like having your work in like prestigious places and really looking good, critically important. So I like it. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. So in the chat, you need to add watermark when artwork as a digital version lists on the store. No, you don't have to add a watermark. You can if you want, but you certainly don't have to. You've got granular control of everything. With us, there are no rules. The artist owns everything. You have a complete level of control within reason, of course. Tatiana says, if somebody wants to steal your artwork, we'll do it from anywhere. I found by accident my work was being sold through different platforms, including Europe, including Amazon UK. Yeah, that's an easy cease and desist letter you can send. But even in the event that it is, it doesn't mean it's selling. Like, that's just not the way that art sells. Art is not stolen from somebody, put up somewhere on some third-party gallery service or eBay or something else, and then it really starts moving. It's like, you know what it is? It's like worrying about being struck by lightning or being stung by a bee, right? Like, okay, if it's happened, that's how infrequent it's happened. You do not need to worry about it. It's not something that you need to wake up in the morning or spend a bunch of time. Instead, spend the time how you're going to find customers and grow the business. Do not stress about people stealing your images. It's just not a thing. And even if it is a thing, it gives you the ability to go after them with lawyers after the fact, if anything actually moves. So it's almost like having some sales staff if you can get it to work. But anyway, I'm opinionated about that. What else? You guys don't have a lot of questions today. Monday, shaking it off. I mean, literally about anything. Like, where's your business at? What are you struggling with? You're here because you're mildly interested. Okay, somebody's telling me Dan's raising his hand. I want to find you, Dan. I have to like keep the thing on like a film strip view, so I can't always see. All right, Dan, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wondered how you go about policing things like copyright issues and releases for photographers. Obviously, I can't take a picture of Bono or some of those other celebrities you showed and start putting it on tote bags and canvas because of my butt off.
Yeah, it's your business. It's not ours. So
right.
Okay. I think we have some people that are potentially water skiing in the charcoal gray areas of legality. Yes, we definitely do. But it's not our job to police it, right? Like if we get cease and desist letters, then we will ask you to take the content down, but we don't make those kind of like substantive judgments because it's just not our business to do it. It's your business, right? But I would also say, I tell this story all the time and I really actually rather enjoy it. We have a gentleman who has a thriving business going in to a certain theme park and taking photos inside that theme park. Let's just say that theme park has something to do with mouse. Now, I don't know how, not only does like moving a large volume of art, okay? Come to find out, he's in a group of people that do the same thing. There are representatives of the company in that group, And they just sort of say, we know this is going on and we're okay with it. We believe it's driving more people coming in. As long as it doesn't get into something crazy, you're all good. So, you know, it's like, you know, there's a million of those different things, and those questions literally arise all the time, right? We're not lawyers, right? We're definitely not lawyers. So that's what I would say.
One other question, as related to content. I've been shooting for 60 years. I've shot everything in the world.
Yes.
Do you have guidance as to somebody who does a wide variety of work as to what different markets are selling and what aren't?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the great news is that we're sort of out of the era of, you know, picking a particular content niche just because it's selling, putting it up and having it do really, really well. And there's a couple of reasons for that. That's number one. Number two, everybody thinks that, you know, people only buy the work, right? And whatever the work is. And let's just use an example. And let's say you go to the car shows and you photograph cars, right? And so, oh, this is the amazing car show guy. You, Dan Brooks, is as much a part of the brand as whatever you shoot. Okay. And that's just how it goes. People want to bond with the artist. They want the behind the scenes. They want to understand who you are, what makes you tick, your peccadillos, you know, where you live, all those sorts of things, what your dog looks like all those sorts of things. It's an important, you know, the behind the screen view. But early on, you've been shooting for all these years, right? And you have all of these various different galleries, and you know you're attempting to ask the crystal ball question, right? The crystal ball question is when my mom goes and sees her financial advisor and says, "Will I have enough money for retirement?" And the financial advisor's like, "Let me just get my crystal ball out," right? Like, who knows what could happen? You don't know what you don't know. So what we do is we encourage you. You've got 60 years. You have some idea, depending on what you sold, on what are your best sellers. We're going to get all your best sellers up on your webpage, and we're going to start you in on marketing. You're going to spend a year marketing the art. Along that way, we're going to start gathering some data. We're going to see what sells. The things that sell move a little bit higher up in the bestseller mark on the homepage. The ones that don't move a little bit further below. And what you'll find by doing that is it almost surprises everyone every single solitary time. People will gravitate to certain things or not. They might just like the store in general and like the fact that they can get these cool images. Or you might find that somewhere in late 80s, you were around a subject material that only you were around, and oh my gosh, there's a cult following. Well, at that point, then you sort of have your come to Jesus moment. You're right. Like, am I going to go be all in on this thing? But you don't know until you know, and only the market can tell you. And you know, the only way it happens is actively marketing, actively getting the work out there, and seeing what people resonate and gravitate towards. There's no one that can tell you what the work is, okay, or which work's going to sell. The only thing they can tell you is when this thing comes out. Slides. By the way, I got frauded today, so I can show it on the interwebs. Anybody wants to run it, it's already been shut down, which means I have to go log into 65 services and change the recurring billing. Annoying. But that's the only thing. That's the only thing that can actually tell you. There's nothing else. How have you sold your work up till now?
Well, I haven't really sought to sell a lot of it. I have 2 books in publication worldwide that are focused on my experiences as a part of a combat photography team in Vietnam.
Oh, cool.
And the books are doing fairly well. Between the 2 books, they contain over 1,000 images.
Wow.
But I and some of my fellow soldiers spent our off time shooting a lot of cultural civilian shots, landscapes, things like that, which I think would be marketable to anything from a Vietnamese restaurant to people that are here from Vietnam that have never seen their home country, that might have been born here and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've been working on projects associated with that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's a niche market again. That's a very narrow niche market.
It is for sure. It is for sure. But you know, that's one of the awesome things. You're a part of the brand just as much as the work is. So you'll never know until you get into the marketing, right? There's no easy way to find out. Is the long and the short of it. Sadly, there's no magical service. There's nowhere you can upload anything. There's no list of high net worth buyers. There never has been, right? There's no shortcuts in this. That being said, though, it's an awesome time to be in this business. I mean, the pandemic has been good to art and photography sales. It's been great. Everything home decor related has just exploded.
This is our first contact with you after we close this. What do you think the next steps are to explore this further? What should we do? Just go to your website and poke around?
Yeah, you could do that. You could subscribe to any of the shows. If you wanna talk to some of the staff, we do a demo process. Okay, and the way that it works is you request a demo, which is you fill out one of these little forms. and someone from our team will call you up and give you all the pricing, all the insights, all the everything. You can ask whatever question, learn about you, and then if you want to see the full demo, all the bells and whistles in the software, you can do that. So if you feel like you're ready for that, great. Encourage you to do that. If you don't, I would subscribe to the podcast, probably start at the beginning, listen all the way to the end. I would attend some of the more live broadcasts, and we put out a ton of amazing content, and a lot of it you can put into place right now, like starting today, and start getting a little bit more attention.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There's good questions. Okay, Janet is up next, and then I'll get going on the chat too. Go ahead, Janet.
Hi.
Hi.
I have just been asked by a friend. I'm an artist, and he's an artist, and he has a gallery space, and he would like to have that online. And so there'll be multiple artists. He also, though, is a carpenter. So right now his logo says art, carpentry, and decor. Because decor is things like, right now, one of the things he's working on is I took a mini grand piano apart, and he's making like a bookshelf and wine holder type thing.
Cool. Yeah.
So would you work for a gallery? In other words, would your website work to...
Yes, it's interchangeable, gallery or not, and we have a ton of galleries that are on the site.
It would be a small gallery.
Yeah. No, I get it. If it is a gallery, the gallery model exists, whether it's digital or whether it's retail, by virtue of the fact that the gallery owner is the one responsible for delivering the eyeballs to the artist, right? To incentivize that relationship is usually the 50-50 split. To further incentivize that relationship is the 50-50 split plus the artist retains zero customer information, so that they don't even know who's buying their work, and they certainly can't market to them in the future. So they work best, sadly, in that model, because what happens is a bunch of artists get together and they say, hey, we're going to do a gallery. Okay, well, who's doing the marketing then? And what happens when one month the grand piano guy is doing zero marketing and Janet's doing a ton of marketing, and then all of a sudden, the grand piano bookshelf sells, and Janet's like, what the heck? I was doing all the marketing. So those relationships can tend to be a little bit sticky. The way that I liken them is, if you attempt to go into it where someone's not responsible for all the marketing and someone doesn't own the gallery and you're just in it, if it's we're all going to work on this together, fantastic. That's sort of like a marriage, except with multiple partners. When marriage is difficult enough as is, right? You're trying to have multiple of them. You better be extremely good at communication, amongst other things. So that's sort of the analogy I give to it, which is not to say it can't work. It's just, it works best if it remains a gallery relationship. That's what I would say. Unless it's like husband and wife or family, because then it's a different bond. But yes.
So how would that work with your website? I guess I'm still a little...
Your website would work perfectly. I mean, zero problems at all. You could have one artist in there. You could have 50 artists in there. You could have 25 artists in there. Like, each would have a page. Each would have a section. But again, it's sort of like, okay, great. Whether it's digitally online with us or whether it's, on Main Street in your town, who's going to be responsible for bringing people in the door, right?
Right. It's going to be the gallery. Well, or me. He's having me the manager.
Got it.
Is what he'd like. And there's not that many artists. Like I say, it's in a small town in northern lower Michigan.
Okay.
But it's a travel visitor site.
Got it.
In winter and summer. So, I mean, there are going to be people that will come in the door. He had it open one summer and it worked okay. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So he's reopening it. But he wants now an online presence.
Yes.
So he wants the online as well as still having the face-to-face.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it would be quite seamless. It's not a problem at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. If you do the marketing though, no 50-50 split, you get to retain your customer data. Tell them I said that's mandatory. Mandatory, Janet. That's the biggest problem with the gallery relationships. Like, if you're in this business for any point of time, and this guy says it the best, by the way. This book, I can't tell if it's flipping the title or not, is it? It looks like it is. Don't Be a Starving Artist. It's by Weiland, the whale guy, and best-selling artist in the United States, supposedly. If not, he's close to it, but that's the rumor out there. Wyland titles collectors one of the most important aspects of his business. What is a collector? Someone that's going to buy in addition to 7 pieces of his over the course of their life, right? And so you start in year 1, whatever you start your marketing, and through diligent marketing, you tend to collect more and more collectors. Your prices over the years, more come in each year, more come in each year, more come in each year. And small numbers at first, could be 4 or 5. And then year 2, it could be 10 or 15. And then year 4, you could have maybe 20 or 25. And we do a bunch of marketing to them. We teach you how to treat them special. But your prices keep going up as you get better, and the collectors just keep coming along for the ride, and they keep buying year after year after year after year. And if you're in a gallery-only relationship where you don't have information on who your collectors are, you can't market to them. You don't even know how to treat them special, right? So that's the part that I don't like about the gallery relationship. But good questions. So Margaret's asking, what's your relationship with DeviantArt? We don't have a relationship with DeviantArt. How do you differ in terms of promoting artists? DeviantArt is an online marketplace / gallery. So we're completely different. With us, the artist owns everything. It's their URL, their store, their relationship, their email list, their merchant account. So we're not like DeviantArt in the slightest. DeviantArt is no different than Fine Art America, or no different than trying to sell on eBay, or trying to sell on Etsy or Saatchi, or Redbubble, or any of the rest of them. You know, all of the sites where there's a million people uploading things, okay, many of which look just like yours, are very, very difficult to make it on. You know, I talk to hundreds of artists and photographers. I hear very few that make anything approaching a substantive income from uploading their art to these other sites. You know, there are exceptions to the rule, people that have been on Etsy for like 20 years and have a decent business, or the like. So there's some exceptions there. By and large, it just doesn't work. If it's something is easy to do, there is no arbitrage. And it's really easy just to upload all your images and not do anything else, right? And think it's going to work. But the premise is just deeply flawed. It's deeply flawed even more so in a digital world, because what happens is that you do that, and then when people Google your name, it shows up DeviantArt first and your website second, or Etsy first and your website second. And so it's like you don't even get the traffic from your own name, which is, you know, problematic. So anyway. SA says, I prefer not to be on a site with competitors. Yeah, so I think that probably answers that question too. You're not on a site with competitors. You're not competing with anyone aside from yourself and the need to do your marketing and do it consistently. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Who else? Questions? So Dan, I got. Janet, I got. Decca, Ty, Steve, you guys are my next ones to pick on because I can see your cameras on. Questions? Alejandro, whatever you have on that wall behind you is pretty cool looking. Yeah, that's a pretty wild looking sculpture. Wild looking piece of wall art there. But yeah, that's what we do. You know, I mean, the large and the small of it is like, okay, I've been doing this for a while now, right? And I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you. I know conclusively every single solitary person in this Zoom call has a marketing problem. Marketing problem, it's not going away. You're not doing it consistently. You're not focused on it. And as a result, the business is not growing for the world that we are in currently, right? Like there are not any really, really reliable in-person revenue sources right now. Most of the galleries are closed. They're not selling a lot. The fair and show circuit, not what it once was. People are going to be very gun shy on that for the next couple of years. So we sort of exist in a place in time where, you know, selling direct from your own website and going about those marketing activities is the most viable source of income and revenue for an artist. There is a lot of awesome to it. You keep all the money. You don't have to leave your house. You can ship worldwide. You can reach people in a bunch of creative ways. So all of that is amazing. What's not amazing is early on, it sucks. It's a grind. You actually have to work hard and diligently on your marketing for a couple of years. But you do that, it becomes a compounding interest situation. The business grows year over year over year. And better still, when you do this, own your own website, own your own email list, own your own customers, learn how to market digitally, learn how to storytell on the socials, learn how to have sales, all the things that we advocate and we teach you to do. And pandemic 3 comes around 10 years from now, you don't get the rug ripped out from underneath you, because you control all your own attention. You can still sell the minute everything else closes. And so it's what we advocate. Like the artist, the photographer needs to own everything. There's no reason not to own anything. And it's not that we're anti other revenue sources. Like We love the other revenue sources. If you have an art gallery working for you, absolutely fantastic. Double down on it. Do everything you can, but not in lieu of owning your own website, owning your own intention, right? You know, so too for the fairs and shows. We love the fairs and shows. Fantastic way to build an email list. We teach that all year long. We hope they come back very, very soon, but TBD on that. So that's sort of the world that we're in right now, which is crazy. Is it best to post nothing until you feel your work is perfect as it can be? Raven, your work will never be perfect, my dear. It's never perfect. Your website is never finished. These are all things that we just start working in on, and we see what happens, right? You know, but that's one of the traps, Raven, that artists fall into. You create something, you go and try and sell it. If you can't sell it, you have one of two problems. Either A, work's not good enough, you need to try something new. B, you didn't get it in front of enough eyeballs. So get it in front of enough eyeballs. Did it sell? Lower the price. Did it not sell at a lower price? Okay, you have to consider doing something different. But do not wait. You do not wait. You take that product to market the minute that it's done. That's what I would say. So David, good question. I'm going to mute you too, David. So I love this question because it's a variation of the crystal ball question, David. It is a variation of the crystal ball question. David's asking, what images sell best? Landscape, abstract, travel, black and white, color, etc. We have, at least for us, right? And I'm sure if I had access to all of Fine Art America's data, I could run a simple script and say, like, what ones are selling the best, right? But the folly on it is thinking that if you somehow know what images are selling best, or if you somehow know what the #1 selling media type is, or if you somehow know that this particular subject material is better than anything else, that you're going to be able to just turn around, go and create that and hit a home run. Problem is that everyone is so different. Everyone's market is so completely different that you cannot compare your beginning to someone else's middle or end. Also, you can't reverse engineer art businesses. They just don't work that way. Like, okay, black and whites are really selling well, so let's just put out a bunch of black and whites. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You do you. You do what makes you happy and what you feel artistically called for. We go and we take that and we start marketing and we see if it works. If it doesn't work, it gets dropped. If it does, you go all in on it, and that's the ball game. But there's no comparison. And even if I tried to run those scripts on mine, I mean, got people all over the United States with every different niche imaginable, all over different parts of the world. And, while there are certain things that you can abstract, like, okay, you don't have all of the media types available, especially like the new ones, especially metal and acrylic, which sell incredibly well. That's a problem, right? Like, somebody should be able to come to your site and look and see what an acrylic piece looks like. See the fact that it's ready to hang, ready to go. So true with metal. You should be showing metal. These are like the new hot kids on the block. So you need to have these media types, but there's not a special size or subject matter. It's just such a mixed bag. Kind of a long-winded answer, but did that sort of answer it for you, David?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Yeah. What do you shoot? Everything? A little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. I come from the commercial side, so started doing fine art about a year ago, full time.
What commercial stuff did you do?
Oh, I worked for a large industrial company called the Louis Dreyfus Company. So they would actually send me around the world to basically shoot their assets. So
wow.
They do it basically, if it from the farm to the fork is what they call it. So
wow.
Large industrial sites that export grain, sugar, metals,
wow.
things like that. So
wild. And so on all those things, did you actually get some travel time in there to do some photography, or was it all just
a lot? And actually they really started to see what kind of creative side that I had. So I was shooting, I mean, you look at some of these industrial sites and they're not the most attractive things in the world at all. So picking out abstracts, ladders coming down sides of silos, things like that. And they started to run with it.
Yeah.
So
that's great website material. That's totally cool. It's totally interesting. You never know. You could throw some of that stuff. I mean, I don't know what the rights situation is, but you could start throwing some of that stuff up, see if it gets any action, right? Never know.
Thanks much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Who else? Questions? Anything? Are you just getting started? Are you wondering about niche selection like some of them are? Have you run a live art show at all, which I believe is the future of selling art and photography online, full stop? I have a bunch of content on that. I'll send you guys an email after the fact with some follow-up data. But okay, I feel like this is a slow one. Don't make me start picking on you, Ty. Okay? Ty's like, no, I'm not doing it. All right, Dan's in for round 2. Let's go, Dan. Fire away.
Okay. Again, I know you can't be too specific, but everybody's probably wondering, how much is this going to cost me?
Yeah. So yeah, I could totally explain that. So we're like, you know, every other website company out there in the sense that we have a monthly fee for our website, right? So that's easy enough. We can set that aside. I'll get into the numbers in a minute. What we found early on, and I'm sure plenty of people can relate to this, what artists and photographers tend to do is try out a new website platform, right? And they upload all their images. And maybe they work on their marketing for about a week and a half or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. And they're like, this thing's not getting the results that I want. And then maybe they sit on it for a couple of years. And they're like, you know what I need to do? Switch to a new website platform. And then they switch to a new website platform and upload all their images. Less so photographers, because you guys get stuck in that like smug mug thing where you're tired of things are up there. All your galleries are up there and everything else. But the point is, no one on this call has a website problem. Meaning, if I was a genie that came out of the lamp and said, Dan, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes, but wish number 1, what's that? You want me to move your website for free today to any website platform you want on the net, period. I'm doing it. Snap your fingers, it's done. No fundamental change to your business because you don't have traffic and attention and eyeballs coming. So we realized if we wanted to have a business, we can't offer a website solution. It's not enough. It's not enough. No one has a website problem. They all have a marketing problem. And so we thought about how to solve that. And that's essentially what the Art Business University is. So the Art Business University is, yes, it's all the online do-it-yourself training for sure that we have. Yes, it's the Zoom sessions that we have with our customers week in, week out, 52 weeks or 50 weeks a year, whatever it is. Yes, it's the support. It's the fact that you could pop in on Zoom calls 6 days a week and get help with whatever you're struggling on technologically. And yes, it's the Facebook group, right, where there's a whole bunch of different people that are on the same journey you are, trying to figure things out, have questions. All of that collectively ensures that our customers are actually working on their marketing. So we have a fee, a tuition fee to the university, which is the easiest way to think about it, and then the regular monthly website fee. The tuition fee, the starting fee for the low plan, I believe, well, the fee is $9.99, one-time pay it, done, you're in for life. The benefits just keep accruing. You don't ever have to do anything. You don't ever get charged anything more for that. And then the monthly website fee, I believe, is $49 a month or $39 a month. You'd have to check. You'd have to check on the demo to know that for sure. And, you know, as an added benefit, an added bonus that we've seen to it, that's how you get started. There are some plans that are bigger. They group years into the plans and everything else. There's like a whole bunch going on there, which is why I stay away from the quoting of all of it, and you have to ask them. But what ends up happening is if you have another website, right, and, you know, there's a free trial, and it's a 3-month free trial, and then it's going to be $39.99 a month. Well, you have no commitment to do anything there, right? Like, you upload your images, maybe you're excited about it for a little while and you quit. With us, you know, if you're going to put $1,000 down, or on some of the plans, you know, some people are putting $5,000 or $6,000 down, it's effectively burning the boat, right? Like, another little website where you just have a free 3-month trial and $39 a month, you can just take that boat across the river and then come right back. With ours, when you make the commitment to spend that much money, you're burning the boat. You're like, guess what? I am going to make this thing work. I'm actually taking this seriously for once. I realize I have a marketing problem. I know it's going to take me 3 to 5 years to grow a substantive business. I'm now all in and I'm starting. So we found that that's been like extremely helpful in getting people to come in that are like, by hook or by crook, like, I'm making it go this time, right? I am making a business out of this time. And so you get people that have a much more reasonable expectation of what's necessary to make this a business and make it work for them. So that's what I'd say.
Right.
Thanks, Sam. If you're newer, how do you know when you're ready, have enough product to do this? Raven, so step 1 in the whole process, okay, to just getting started, you have to sell your work to people not named mom, dad, brother, father, sister, friends, okay? Those people would step into oncoming traffic for you. They would do anything for you. So you have to sell your work to strangers. If your work can sell to strangers, not to the aforementioned mom, dad, friends, family, then you know you have a product the market wants. Once you have a product the market wants, it becomes a game of marketing. The danger is never trying to sell it anywhere and then saying, I'm going to go plop money down for this expensive website, and I'm going to start into my digital marketing, and then I'm going to realize I have a product the market doesn't want. Well, that's not a good place to go, right? So you need to be able to sell your stuff to strangers. There's a number of different ways that we advocate people do that. It was, admittedly much easier to do in a pre-COVID world because we would just say, get 10 pieces together. If you're a digital artist, run prints. If you're a regular artist, then you have the originals. Go sit in a booth somewhere, local farmers market, a fair, a show, whatever, and see if the work will sell. Have a bunch of conversations with strangers. Negotiate a little bit. See if you get any offers for commissions. That's the easiest way to do it. In the COVID world that we live in, where there's not as many opportunities for most folks to do that, the easiest way to do it is grab your phone, go to the social media site of which you have the most attention. Hey guys, it's Raven, and I've been working on my art for a lot of years, and I'm trying to launch my business. So I have a couple of pieces here. I just want to talk to you about them. Tell the story of each one. Tell what your inspiration was. Tell what it normally costs. Mark the print up 250% of whatever it cost you, and say no reasonable offer will be refused. I'm trying to get my photo business launched, and just quote the prices, right? And just say, send me a message on Instagram, Facebook. You can email me, text me, take Venmo, PayPal, checks, cash at my house, or on delivery, and see if you can sell it. You got to see if you can sell it. That's like the most important thing. All right, Janet, if you have more than one business, so you want more than website, do you still need to pay? No. Well, I'm a little bit confused. Explain your situation, Janet. Go ahead.
Well, like I said, I have my own business, but if I was to do the gallery, so let's just use that for an example.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm managing the gallery, but I'm also an artist, and like you say, I want to have my own website as an artist, but I'm also doing a gallery website. Would I have to pay the university fee, subscription, whatever you want to call it, is for both?
It would depend on how that relationship looks like. I mean, who would pay for the original gallery? The carpenter?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we have some sort of special. I think you should request a demo and ask them. I know they do some sort of thing, but I don't know what it is, and I don't want to stuff on my feet. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And I know too that they're doing I think it's like a six months free right now if you sign up in the month of March. So there is a good deal out there. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Yeah, the gallery thing is always interesting. And they're logged into their own groups. Do customers have to go through your whole file? Daniel, I don't understand what this question is. You have to state that thing another way. I don't understand the rocks and everything else. But yeah, okay. Yeah, what about the rest of you guys? Steve? No? Alejandro? No? We even have Spanish speakers on, Alejandro. Not that you speak Spanish or don't speak Spanish. But that's actually one of the things I'm really interested in bringing to light is seeing whether or not we can start mixing multiple languages in. I have a buddy, okay, who he's been doing his marketing for a number of years. And this is one of the reasons I really love the prospect of the art business. I think he's got 45,000 fans on Instagram. He's got 9,000 YouTube subscribers because he does that whole my process thing from start to finish, time lapse, and one of them took off, so he's got a bunch of subscribers. And we ran a live art show together. I actually have the background. I usually show this off, but let me show it to you. I'll show you what his work looks like because I have it in here. And he has been painting for a number of years, but he had, and it's this guy on my background if you can see it. So he had a bunch of inventory in his basement from the last 10 years or 15 years of his painting journey. And so he decided to do some live art shows to sell it. And turn on the camera, start running the live art show, and I'm helping him do it because he's a customer, and it's one of the things that we do. We learn the latest and greatest. And he's in Quebec in Canada, okay? And over these 2 live art shows that he did, I think he sold something like 65, 66 pieces. It was his older work, again, not his new stuff. And he had buyers from Canada. He had buyers in the United States. He had a buyer in Mexico. He had 2 in South America, I believe in Argentina. He had 3 buyers in Asia and 5 in Europe, all from one sale. And so you look at that and it's like, we truly are in an age where an artist, wherever they are located geographically, if they work on their marketing, has access to a worldwide market. You get a bunch of fans that enjoy what you do, enjoy your art, and all of a sudden, you have the ability to reach a worldwide market, which is just, for me, it's a phenomenal thing to contemplate. So, okay. Any other questions? There we go, Tim. See, I knew I'd get you, Tim. I knew it was just a matter of time. You got to unmute yourself, Tim, bottom left.
It's just a matter of time.
That's right.
I was just curious how your commerce site itself that you guys have created, which I haven't had a chance to review yet,
Yes.
Compares to some of the others, like say BigCommerce or other existing that are commerce sites. I understand that.
Yep. It's, I mean,
Thrive is art and art for artists, but in terms of all the other bells and whistles that they carry, sales, having specials, having featured items and things like that. Is that all incorporated into your website?
Yeah, so there's two levels to it. One, in terms of selling art photography, it's not even close. That's not hyperbole, not really even a fair comparison, because BigCommerce, the rest of them are set up to sell everything. We're just set up to sell wall art, right? For the most part. So there's 50 different bells and whistles that we have that they don't have, just because that's our business. In terms of like a feature for feature comparison with BigCommerce, I'd say we have most of what they have in terms of some of their additional bells and whistles, as well as some of their integrations. But most of the, what we found with our websites over years and years of testing is they're very effective at converting the attention that you do have into buyers, right? More so than a lot of the features on the other websites that you think you need, which you actually don't need. Our websites are extremely minimalist by design. We find that the easiest way to sell anything, okay, and especially art and photography, this is one of my trick questions, like what's the best way to sell art and photography? In person, face to face, okay? No one's disputing that. But what your job is when you contemplate a website, what your job is when you start contemplating attempting to sell online is how do I remain in a retail face-to-face mental model and accomplish something like that online? And the easiest way to do that is mimic the gallery. What happens when you buy art in a gallery? You walk in, what do you see? It's all about the art, right? Maybe there's some nice furniture. It's minimalist. You see the work directly. You're carried throughout the room. And so a lot of what we do is attempt to try to mimic that experience as close as possible. And so a lot of our features are like that. But we've got some really snazzy ones that I know BigCommerce doesn't have. The one I always talk about in these sessions, because we don't really publicize it that much. We have this thing called Art Buyer AI. Okay, it's a fancy way. We have a script that tracks people on your website for you. Okay, and one of the fun things, because we're sort of a newer player on the block. I mean, we're not legacy software that's 20 years old. We're built very nimbly, and I'm able to make recommendations for what I want to do in terms of marketing, and it gets built into the software. So back to Tim Giaroso art, right? And so Art Buyer AI is essentially a video camera in the corner of your store. And let's just say your store is the Apple store, to keep things simple, okay? So I come into Tim Giaroso, which is actually the Apple store. I pick up an iPhone. I look at the iPhone. I pick up an iPad. I play with the iPad. And then I go and I pick up a MacBook Air and I play with that. I buy the iPhone and I leave. Our system watched all that. It knows it did all that. And so you get a notification and it'll say, Tim, Patrick just walked into your store. He looked at the iPhone and bought it. He looked at the iPad. He looked at the MacBook Air, but he just bought the iPhone. Instantaneous email will pop up. The email is pre-populated with text, okay, that we wrote, my marketing team and I wrote. And it says, hey, Patrick, thank you so much for your order and for buying the iPhone. I can't wait to ship this to you. I couldn't help but notice you also checked out the iPad and the MacBook Air. You probably weren't aware of this, but we have a special first-time discount on multiple items that we offer and we don't publicize. So if that's something that you want to talk about and that you would maybe want to get the iPad and the MacBook Air, we could bundle something together. If not, no worries. I just want to let you know how much I appreciate your business. Now, there all that text is. It's automatically in that field for you, Tim. And you can decide you want to edit it, put your little spin on it, or hit send. You can just hit send. And so we've got features like that we've barely even publicized, but constantly adding those that are just give you a leg up. Like, everyone thinks art and photography sells by I saw a post on the socials, right? Or I got an email and it said 15% off, buy today. It's not how it works. No one is just randomly browsing around on the internet and gets hit with something and instantaneously buys art. That's not how the sales cycle works. If you ran an ad on Facebook, okay, and let's say your art It had, Tim Giaroso Art's latest piece, 30% off this weekend only. You have to act in the next 48 hours. And let's say that the audience size for that was 1,000 people. Out of that 1,000 people, let's just say they were qualified buyers, only one of them has their hand up that actually needs art right now, that just moved into a house or is downsizing or has a new office. The other 999 are not ready. They're not ready. And so what needs to happen to those other 999? They need to be marketed to. They need to get on your email list. They need to get to know you. They need to see posts. 6 months later, they move out of one house to another house. Boom. Then they need art, right? So you have to understand how that part of the sales cycle works. And when you do, your e-commerce site tweaks out a little bit, and there's some changes to be made. But I was ranting there. I feel like I got off topic.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's good. And I know it's a composite of every part you can possibly bring into the system to work, but do you do, or I might have missed a little bit on the session, but are email blasts effective?
Yes.
And it's like a little Facebook, a little Instagram, a little email blast, everything all sort of put together. So you just have to stay on top of all of them.
Yeah, that's all of it. We teach you how to do all of it all year long. I mean, number one, you have to, where's it going with that? I just saw a text message and distracted me. I apologize. Number one, you have to be gathering emails all year. And there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. We teach you how to do that. Number two, you have to be emailing those emails on a regular basis. Starts with once a month, and then you get a little bit better, and you go once every 2 weeks, and then you get to the point where you're doing it once a week, and that's a sweet spot. That's nice. You need to be posting on the socials regularly. We teach you how to do that. Once you've sold more than $2,000 directly from your website, you need to be running ads on Facebook and Instagram to warm traffic. Warm traffic are people that have interacted with you, your brand, not people that have never met you before. You need to understand how to run a sale, and you need to be running a sale at the times of the year when it is important to run a sale. Yes, Black Friday especially, but there's some other holidays depending on what you do. And there's a lot of mechanics to a sale. We teach you all of this: how to announce it, how to warm up your audience, how to handle the discounts and what to think about. Are you just doing it on one item, or are you doing it on all these various different mechanics? So we teach you how to do that all year. We have some proprietary techniques on how to generate leads that are not published, that we don't tell anybody, because it's just one little hacky thing that works for now. And it's, 2 years from now, it probably won't work, but it's working great now, right? We have some tricky things that we do with print giveaways that are very effective, but we teach that all year long. And, everyone sort of has a different set of circumstances. So we just teach you how to get attention, how to be effective at digital marketing. We get you to do it consistently, which is the number one thing artists and photographers never do. No one ever does it consistently. Ever, 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 ever. They get real fired up to do something, do it for 3 weeks or a month or 2 months. They don't get the immediate results because they don't understand how selling art works, and then they quit. And then a year goes by, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to do it again, right? We get you to do it consistently, which is the key, which is absolutely the key. So yes, all of that is what we teach all year long. And, not only do we teach it in the Zoom sessions, but, you have the DIY learning step-by-step, crazy detailed videos that walk through every single solitary aspect, how to do it. And then we have an agency too. So, if for some reason you don't want to do the thing, you can a la carte pay for one-off things to the agency. They will get it done for you, and then you can get back to your marketing. But that's sort of the whole ballgame.
And do you have listings of groups or ways to, say, increase your numbers of followers?
Yes.
Whatever media you have to be using.
Yes.
Does our storefront itself have its actual group where people can see other artwork and pick from just because it's followed? Or
no, not at this point. We don't have some sort of global gallery. People always ask us if we're going to start one. Who knows? Maybe sometime down the line. But right now, in the meantime, we just teach you how to do all of the above. And yes, we teach you to grow your list. And yes, we teach you to get more attention. And
strategies for it.
Yeah. But again, I go back to the marketplace / gallery relationship. It's there's a reason that all of those marketplaces do not let you keep any of your customer data, right? Because they're spending a tremendous amount of money on marketing to get those eyeballs, get that attention for you. And if it's working for you, fantastic. But it's no way towards building a sustainable business for you yourself without having your own attention, that you own your own list, your own everything. So yeah, sort of how we look at it.
Good, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you getting going on the question, Tim. Yeah, it's fascinating. No, Janet, you don't need a contact list when you start. We teach you some tricks early on with that as well. Of course, it's helpful if you do have one, but trust me, I know there's many of you that have been doing the shows and fairs and circuits for years and years and years, and you were not gathering emails the whole time. It breaks my heart, but that's okay. You know, best time to plant an oak tree, 35 years ago. Next best time, Janet, today, right? Well, thank you guys. I had a lot of fun on that session. I hoped you guys enjoyed it. We run 3 of them a week, so if you want to come back to another one, you certainly can. Or if you follow us on the socials, you can always pop into one of the lives and say hi, ask a question, whatever it might be. We are running the special right now of 6 extra free months, and you know the holidays are about to start coming thick and fast. Mother's Day pops up, and then Father's Day pops up. And maybe you learn how to run a sale, and then you get a little bit better at running a sale. And then fourth quarter comes along, and you're ready to go with a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas sales. So, yeah, that's the ball game. And it's an awesome time to be there because you know there's certain lack of alternatives. And when you think about it, like where are people buying art right now? Where they would traditionally buy art are not really available. So it's either the digital marketplaces and you get lost in the shuffle, or you start carving out your piece of attention, you know, your piece of the pie, and you have the ability to sell direct. So it's a great time to be in business. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. And yeah, hope to see you all again soon.